Today, I'll be ranking the top 10 strikers in the UFC. I'll be using 3 different categories to help me rank these fighters. The first one being striking skill and effectiveness. So, for example, a fighter like DDP, who is very effective but not that skillful, could still make this list. The second one being entertainment, and the last one, activity. So, for example, a fighter like Conor McGregor, who is a great striker but has a fight in like 3 years, won't make this list. Before we start though, I have some honorable mentions like Robert Whittaker. In my opinion, is one of the most skilled middleweights of all time. Also Peter Yan, great boxer and carries a lot of power. Jose Aldo. Aldo was actually supposed to be on this list, but he hasn't been that active, and I just feel like he's way past his prime. Sean Strickland, great boxer, but not that entertaining. And also Corey Sanhagen, great kickboxer and great striker overall. At number 10, I got Israel Adesanya. I know a lot of people have him higher on the list, but I don't think Izzy's that good. We know the UFC commentators have been gassing him up for the last few years, especially Joe Rogan, saying he's one of the greatest strikers of all time, and I disagree. I think he was a great champion, one of the greatest middleweights of all time, but not strikers. Don't get me wrong though, he's still a great striker. I think he's still really fast. He does still carry some power. He's really hard to hit. Has really good head movement. Really good distance control. It's hard to get to him. And let's just be real. He's the only person in the UFC to outstrike and beat Alex Pereira. In the first fight, Izzy outstruck him and then ended up getting finished. And in the second fight, Alex was beating him up and then Izzy ended up knocking him out. So for that reason and many others, I think Israel Adesanya is one of the top 10 best strikers in the UFC nowadays. At number 9, I got Michael Venom Page. We finally got to see this guy in the UFC. In his first fight, he schooled Kevin Holland. In the second fight, Ian Gary was scared of him in the fit and he made Ian Gary wrestle. No doubt this guy is one of the best strikers in MMA. Amazing distance control, extremely fast, extremely creative with his strikes, and he's just very entertaining to watch. He always puts on a show, he's always talking, always thinking about the fans. So I think that no doubt this guy is one of the best strikers in the UFC. At number 8, the one and only Khalil Roundtree Jr. He really became a fan favorite after his last fight against Alex Pereira at UFC 307. We know that he moved to Thailand to perfect his Muay Thai. Really amazing, powerful kicks to the body, really good boxing, and we know that he carries a lot of power. He can put anybody out in the lightweight division. He almost put Alex out, and is truly the only guy besides Izzy to give Alex problems on the feet. So, and we also have to consider that Izzy fought an extremely weight drained Alex at 185. So I think this guy is an amazing striker. He refuses to wrestle. He's all about striking, and he can only go up on this list. At number 7, I have Islam Makhachev. I don't even think this is crazy to say anymore. This guy has truly proved to be one of the best strikers at lightweight and one of the best strikers in the UFC. We know that the threat of the takedown is a factor, but still, he outstruck Volkanovski in the first fight, knocked him out in the second. He outboxed Poirier, one of the best boxers in the UFC. He dropped Charles Oliveira, and people think Charles Oliveira is just a grappler. Charles Oliveira is still a really good striker, and in my opinion, he has one of the best clinch games in the UFC. He's constantly active in the clinch, constantly dropping nasty knees to the body, to the head, constantly active, and I think we really can't deny him as a striker in the UFC anymore. This guy is one of the best strikers currently in the UFC. At number 6, Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. There's not really much to say about Wonderboy. 57-0 in kickboxing, 39 knockouts, one of the most entertaining strikers we've ever seen in the UFC. Really good boxing, amazing kicks, a lot of output. The only problem is that he doesn't have that much power. He used to early in his career, but he doesn't have that much power anymore. It's understandable, he's 41 years old, but still one of the best strikers in the UFC. I think he can beat anyone at welterweight in a striking battle. But the problem is that he doesn't have any power. We saw in the Buckley fight, he was beating Buckley the whole fight, and then he just took one shot from Buckley and put him out. But not that long ago, he knocked out Kevin Holland with like 3 spinning head kicks, and it was able to get him out of there, but with a lot of output. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson is still one of the best strikers in the world, one of the best strikers in the UFC, and is number 6 in my list. Because at number 5 I have Max Blast Holloway. He holds the UFC record for most significant strikes ever. In my opinion, he has the greatest knockout in MMA history against Justin Gaethje. He gave Brian Ortega the worst beating of his life, and if you really think about it, he beat and outstruck every single good striker at featherweight besides Volkanovski. He beat Aldo twice, he beat Arnold Allen, he beat TKZ, he beat Yair, and he beat Calvin Kattar. But at number 4, I have the man that beat Holloway 3 times. Volkanovski truly has one of the best resumes in MMA history. He beat Holloway 3 times, he beat Aldo, he cleared the featherweight division before and after becoming champion. He has one of the best fight IQs ever, great all-around striking, good boxing, good kickboxing, amazing cardio, crazy output. Volkanovski never runs away from a fight, and a lot of people criticize Volk's power. If you think Volk doesn't have power, look at his opponents' faces after the fight is over. Volkanovski is truly one of the best strikers in MMA history and one of the best strikers still in the UFC right now. I think it would have been higher on my list if it wasn't for the last 2 fights, but he was still looking pretty good against Ilya in the first round. But for now, I have him at number 4 on my list. At number 3, I have Ilya Topuria. In my opinion, he is the best boxer in the UFC. Everything he does looks technically perfect. He has relentless pressure, he never stops coming forward, he cuts off the cage super well, and he is extremely powerful. We saw what happened to Volk. Topuria kept coming forward, kept cutting off the cage, and it only took one shot to put Volk out. So this guy is not only perfect offensively, but also defensively. His defense is amazing. He has amazing head movements. His head never stops moving, and he has a really tight guard. His hands never drop. So this guy can only go up on his list, and he's really young. I believe he's only 28. So he can end up being one of the best strikers in UFC history. And number 2, another guy that's really young, Sean O'Malley. I know that he just lost his belt at UFC 306, but I still think he's one of the best strikers in the UFC. I think he beats everybody on the feet in the bantamweight division, even Sanhagen. I think he knocks him out. This guy is probably the perfect striker for MMA. He has great feints. If you watch his fights, everybody bites on his feints. He makes everybody move. He has amazing combinations. He's extremely creative. He is really fast, really powerful, really entertaining to watch, and he always puts on a show. You never see a boring Sean O'Malley fight. He also has amazing footwork. You'll never catch this guy out of balance. He comes in and out of distance really fast. And like I said before, he's really powerful. I don't know how Cheeto didn't get knocked out by that knee, but this is one of the most powerful guys pound for pound in the UFC. And then finally at number 1, Alex Pereira, the double champ. It seems like this guy always finds a finish. The only 2 people that he wasn't able to knock out were Bruno Silva and Jan Blachowicz. Bruno Silva has never been knocked out in his professional career, and Jan Blachowicz was his first fight as a light heavyweight, so maybe he was still getting adjusted to the division. With only 10 fights in the UFC, he already has a great resume. He beat Sean Strickland, he beat Izzy, he beat Yuri twice, he beat Jamal Hill, he beat Jan Blachowicz. I mean, this guy is one of the best UFC fighters ever with only 14 fights. He's definitely the most dominant striker in the UFC. No one in the light heavyweight division can beat him on the feet. We see all of these guys. Oh, I'm gonna strike with him. No, you're not. I mean, you will, but you probably shouldn't. Nobody in the light heavyweight division can beat this man on the feet. He makes people look normal. Erie has only lost to Alex in the UFC. Erie was a champion before. He looked great. He looked like he could beat anybody. Jamal Hill, who beat Glover Teixeira pretty dominantly, got knocked out in the first round by Alex. Izzy was getting destroyed by Alex in their second fight. Izzy ended up knocking him out, but still, Alex was getting the better of him. And Jan Blachowicz looked alright against him, but we do have to remind ourselves that Jan beat Izzy pretty easily, and Alex Pereira still was able to beat him. I just don't see a world where this guy is not the number one striker in the UFC, and that's the reason I have him at number one. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like, and I'll see you on the next one.